Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and welcome to the third installment of this Cod3x educational series. You're back with me, Charles, and Justin Bibas, and in this video, we are going to talk about the Cod3x stablecoin, otherwise known as cdxUSD. And this may be a two-parter because there's a lot to get through, and there's a lot of very cool features to talk about, but we'll see how it goes. And so let's talk about the stablecoin and how it fits into the rest of the ecosystem. Justin, I guess the first thing I'd like to ask is scalability in stablecoins, decentralized stablecoins. Why is it so hard? Why has it been so hard for our team historically? And I guess, the follow-up to that will be how is cdxUSD solving that? But scalability in decentralized stablecoins is a very hard thing to achieve. Do you want to talk a little bit about why that is and
Sure.
What can be done about it?
Yeah, totally. When we shipped Ethos Reserve in early 2023, we had incredibly high hopes. We had the most efficient architecture in the business, which we've proven many times over. And we found pretty quickly that even though it was super decentralized, even though it was super efficient, even though it was super stable and was able to weather all sorts of, frankly, disasters left, right, and center, we just couldn't achieve the scale that we needed to, get to the point where we could achieve escape velocity. And if you aren't familiar, Ethos Reserve was built kind of into the Liquidity system, which is a single collateral CDP system, like a really simple system with a great liquidation engine. We went in there, we gutted it, we put all sorts of collaterals available. We added a rehypothecation feature, which is what made it the most efficient lending platform, period. And then we added some other cool things as they pertain to incentivization, risk management, et cetera. And, really, as we kind of have spent the past, like a year and a half now, working on Ethos and iterating on the system, pretty early on, we were like, hey, I don't think these scaling problems are going to go away. We saw in early 2024, funding rates go to the roof. Ethena USDE was kind of showing everybody what it really means to be an interest-bearing, scalable stablecoin. And we kind of sat back and we're like, okay, we have a product that's really niche. It's great at generating revenue. We need to figure out how to improve the scalability by 10 to 100x. So in tandem with the development of Cod3x Land, we have been working on a stablecoin which is able to plug into Cod3x Land and offer a lot of the same efficiency that we saw with Ethos Reserve, being, hey, like this asset can be rehypothecated, the collateral can be rehypothecated. It's able to generate way more revenue per dollar of AUM. But pushing that further with cdxUSD, we're able to issue AMOs, and we're able to extend lines of credit to other protocols, potentially even to market makers, so that getting past the $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million liquidity mark, $10, $20, $30 million liquidity mark, isn't really so difficult anymore because it doesn't come with the inherent opportunity cost and inherent inefficiency of over collateralization with premium assets. So with cdxUSD, we've really created the ultimate tool for decentralized credit. And we feel that with kind of our network of colleagues and partners, and with our ability to kind of extend these lines of credit all over the place, and with our vast experience in risk management, we can deliver a totally killer stablecoin that can have all the great properties of our last generation of tech with the scalability that we've been craving. So the team is super excited to kind of get down and dirty and show off what cdxUSD can do.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned something called AMOs there, and we'll come back to that because likely not everyone is familiar with that term. But I guess I kind of want to start with the different ways that cdxUSD can enter circulation. People are probably somewhat familiar with the CDP model at this point. You know, you deposit collateral, you mint a stablecoin, and you're off to the races, and you have to manage that position. But with cdxUSD, the same thing can happen, but through a ton of different venues. So I guess the first thing to kind of go over are what are called facilitators. Can you talk about what facilitators are and who they can be, and kind of how that leads to the supply of cdxUSD growing?
Sure. So a facilitator is a trusted party that is allowed to mint and burn cdxUSD. And facilitators are, in most cases, going to be lending platforms, perps platforms, or similar vehicles through which they have a trusted mechanism for distribution. So an easy example is if you have Aave or you have Morpho and we have cdxUSD, we can deposit $1, $2, $3, $4 million of cdxUSD as a line of credit to be accessed by their users with collateral that we kind of curate just as we would any other market. So really, in the same way, Codex Lend's main pool can extend lines of credit to the different mini pools, cdxUSD can extend lines of credit anywhere, including to Codex Lend and its mini pools. So that's to say the facilitator is the real driver of growth, and by giving them the power to mint as a trusted party, they will also give us the power to distribute cdxUSD, and also themselves, reduce their cost of capital by a lot. So instead of having to over-emit incentives or, beg market makers or, sign your life away, you can just request to become a cdxUSD facilitator. We can do a risk assessment of your protocol, and we can open up a line of credit that your users can access anytime, anywhere.
Nice. Yeah. So essentially, I like to think about it like, you're extending this CDP functionality, or you're giving each of these facilitators an arm to give out cdxUSD to their users, or to utilize it in their mechanism, where before, you don't have to necessarily attract users that are already using other protocols to your own protocol and say, hey, come over here, mint our stablecoin over here. And that's very expensive, and that requires some convincing of the user, onboarding all these users and getting them familiar with your tech. You can basically push your stablecoin, our stablecoin, everybody's stablecoin to I honestly didn't mean to say it like that, but just export the
people's stablecoin.
Yeah, it's the stablecoin of the people, exactly. But we could export it to all these different ecosystems, to their user base. It's a lot easier to kind of just give out a stablecoin elsewhere than to import users. So kind of extending these credit lines and just integrating the stablecoin into all these different protocols is just it's like a scalability dream.
And the amazing thing is, because DeFi is over collateralized for the most part, these lines of credit are really low risk in a lot of cases, and really the number one liability to watch out for is technical risk, being risk of exploit, risk of a credit shortfall across a lending market or similar. And those are risks that we have a lot of experience in hedging against and working around, because they're risks that everybody kind of runs face first into as a builder in DeFi. So, our goal is that everywhere you go, you're going to see cdxUSD. And our goal really is, to use this as kind of an olive branch for other teams, other lending platforms, perps platforms, et cetera, to say, hey, take this credit, solve your scaling issues, and work with us on making the stable coin of the people, cdxUSD, the best stable coin there is. And, our mission, as always, is to kind of grow the pie for DeFi. And there are a distinct lack of solid credit facilities in DeFi right now. And cdxUSD is our attempt to give DeFi protocols and foundations, treasuries, et cetera, similar credit tooling and similar financial tooling that a traditional institution might have. And obviously, we have a long way to go to get there. But you'll find, where with Ethos and some of our chapters, it's so expensive and so grindy growing the supply of these stable coins and getting them into people's hands. With cdxUSD, it's going to be totally simple. And I would say even holding cdxUSD, if 25% of our plans come to fruition, if you hold it, you're going to be paying fewer fees in DeFi. You're going to be skipping the hop to access all these opportunities we're working on. And I want it to be the most utilitarian stablecoin there is. And obviously that'll take a lot of work, but we're excited to do it.
Yeah, totally. So as we kind of get on here, I am going to make this a two-parter. So we'll wrap this up with a final thought that I have with regard to facilitators. And then in part two, we'll talk about AMOs and some of the other features some of the things you can do with cdxUSD and why it's attractive for holders. But on the point of facilitators, to make it very clear for everybody, you might be wondering about, the backing of cdxUSD, why this is possible. To give a really simple example, imagine extending a line of credit to Aave such that users of Aave can borrow cdxUSD. What backs any supply of cdxUSD coming out of Aave after that is implemented would be the collateral that they are putting down to mint cdxUSD from Aave. So essentially, you're just giving Aave a market. And obviously people have to put down collateral and to be able to borrow it, but you're giving them, as much cdxUSD as possible, a bunch of liquidity for people to be able to borrow and use across DeFi. So, just to kind of spell that out, any final thoughts in this part one, Bebis, before we move to other topics?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about it more in the next episode. But, we're solving critical liquidity issues for DeFi using cdxUSD. And, you better watch the next episode because things will get really interesting. In the same way, we're developing lending infrastructure to complement Aave and to exist beside Aave, serving a different market, a more retail-oriented market. We're doing the same with cdxUSD. We're not trying to remake Maker. We're not trying to remake any of these, huge stalwarts of the industry. We're trying to create an asset that serves the needs of everyday people. And in doing so, there will be a lot of opportunity, obviously, for professionals and for market makers. But you'll learn about it more in the next episode. So stay tuned.
All right, with that, and that's why it's the people's stablecoin. All right, with that, we'll stop this and carry forward in the next episode. So we will see you there.